Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing my trade review for Wednesday, February 19th, 2014. Let's jump right into it. So in the morning, we talked about a couple of things. So today, first of all, we had a gap down, right? And I did not think it was an extreme gap down. Points-wise, it was relatively small, right? And we obviously, right out of the gate, got responsive buying. And you can see that right in this area right here. So the responsive buying drove us right up into gap fill. And if you'd been with me in the morning, I had said this region, and what I'm talking about here, I'm going to have to use these highlighters because my drawing tool is not working at the moment. Okay, so this area right here is the initial resistance zone. And that zone, normally it's 2 points. I said that it would be extended down to the gap fill line. So it was actually 2.5 points wide. So a couple of interesting things happened here. And I said one of the things that we were going to be looking for out of the gate, right, was lack of rotation lower. Now, something that really threw me off this morning was the mixed strength between the NASDAQ and the ES. And I had pointed out repeatedly that the NASDAQ has been leading this rally the entire way up. And NASDAQ was weak out of the gate. And ES was strong. And when I see something like that, I pause. I'm not quick to take a trade. I just kind of sit and watch and see what's happening. And so I really didn't call anything in this area. But if you had looked in this area, let's say you'd taken a trade. Now, I have one very simple rule at the zones, right? Once it exceeds 25 minutes, you need to make a decision. And that decision can be any one of four things. You're either going to keep your normal stop, which is 2 points behind the zone. You can close the trade right where it's at for whatever profit or loss you have. Or if you have a profit, cover half or cover 3/4 and move the stop to break even on the balance, right? So if you'll look from the time we first touched gap fill, this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes in. That would have reduced, right? Again, the 25-minute trade, that would have reduced the amount of time that you would have had an opportunity to lose money or take a full stop, right? So worst case scenario, depending on where you stopped in this area, where you stopped yourself out, you're looking about a 2-point loss, and that would be at worst, right? Also, look at the size of the rotation. Essentially, 1831.50. If you add 6 points to that, that puts you at 1837.50. That was right at gap fill. I did say you'd maybe want 7 to 8 points to be a little bit more comfortable, and that would put you right in the middle of the zone, right? Because we've had an expanded range now for over the past 2 weeks. That being said, we got no rollover, and it was a huge tug of war in here between ES and NQ. It looked like ES finally won. It was really, if you didn't do well this morning, or you didn't understand the trade price action, a lot of people didn't understand it, and I had. That's all the comment I have on it. It was weird. It turned out to play out quite interestingly later in the day. So if you'll continue on through the morning, right? One of the things that I highlight consistently, daily, repeatedly, right? This 9:30 to 10:30, 10:45 spot is a prime time for trade reversals. Mark it on your calendars. Lock it in. Know that that is a period of time where you can get a really big reversal out of the day. This was no exception. Right at 9:30, we hit the high of the day, and we rolled over, and we traded all the way down. And as actually we haven't stopped. We've traded in Globex all the way down to 1817.25 this evening. Also, look at the size of your rotation, right? Measure this. This is way beyond 6 points at this point, guys, and is an excellent trade entry. The reason why I did not take this trade entry, quite simple. I didn't understand the price action or the divergence between NQ and ES. We were very close to breaking out to new all-time highs. NQ was at all-time highs. We've been in a massive short squeeze. I stay successful because I protect my equity when I don't understand what's going on. Yes, I have a base set of rules, and I'm fine trading them, but you got to understand that one of the reasons people trade a lot, or they're eager to trade, maybe this is you, is because you have a smaller account, right? And it's not that big a deal if you take a stop. At the end of the day, right, what's $200, $300, $400, even $500, or even $1,000 to most of us is not a big deal. It just simply isn't. It doesn't affect our day. But if your numbers are starting to get up where you're trading contract size where it's $5,000, $6,000, maybe $10,000, maybe $20,000 when a trade blows against you, you really tend to go, okay, I only want to take my best, cleanest shots. And this morning just simply didn't qualify because of the divergence between what was going on with NQ and ES. ES was leading. NQ normally leads. When I see a major change in character, I pause for a moment. Totally fine. And you also have to remember, I'm also scalping NQ, I'm scalping CL, and I'm scalping GC through the course of the morning, as well as making commentary. So these trades really have to set up perfectly. Everything has to be in sync because it's hard enough when everything is just operating in a normal fashion. So let's go to the next portion of the day, and I want to clear this out for a second so that I'm perfectly clear what I'm talking about here. Okay, I'm going to remove all these ellipses. So first thing is, you notice the first move into this zone. By the way, I do want to cover one thing. When I say 25 minutes in the zone, normal rejection, I'm going to point this out, looks like this. Into the zone, out of the zone, no extended time in like this. You get so many trades that look like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay? When you get trades where they start getting hung up like we did here, okay, and again, this is 25 minutes in the zone before it breaks, right? Protect your equity, man. Not every trade matters. Look at this. This is one touch and rejection. This is what I'm looking for in my trades. This sucks. This means my equity's in danger, and I'm not a patient guy. So you decide, it's your money. You got to decide for yourself how long you want to wait for a trade to work out. But I trade super leveraged, man, and I just do not like getting steamrolled. That's all there is to it. I don't have any more words of wisdom for that other than that. If I get anywhere close to that 25 minutes, there are just periods of time where the trading gets harder for my style of trading, as it does for every style of trading. You just have to adapt. That's how it works. So let's move on for a second here, because I want to try to do this as efficiently as possible. Let's remove this. I want to point out something very important here. Okay, trap trade. I mentioned trap trade every day. I set it up. I'm going to show you yesterday's trap trade. I'm going to show you today's trap trade. We broke out over Tuesday's high. That was right here. Okay, we closed back below Tuesday's high. Now, it doesn't always mean that we're going to roll over to the downside, but most of the time it means that I anticipate that we're going to trade to the other end of the range. The other end of the range would be Globex low at 1830, and that's exactly what we did. We traveled essentially from 1838 all the way down to 1830. I do not chase the trade. If I had a trailer going from up here, I would have gladly left it and assumed that we were going to take a shot to the downside. By the same token, once we broke this zone and we traveled back up to test this 1838 level, right? This is a breakdown. This is retest. Breakdown, retest. Breakdown, retest. Memorize this pattern. It happens all the time. It's usually good for a rejection. In this case, it rejected you right to the lows, and eventually, like I said, all the way down to 1817. It was quite a bone crushing in the afternoon. So I wanted to highlight that, and I want to show you on the prior day's session. Again, I've already gone over this once today, but I know that people will be tuning in on the video, so I want to show it to you. Yesterday, this was the highs right here. This was Thursday's highs, excuse me. So when we get into when we got into Friday's highs, Mondays we were closed. That made sense. This is Thursday's highs. This is Friday. We came into the high, and we came to the Globex high, right? We barely, and I mean barely, broke it, right? We broke above the high. We weren't able to break above the Globex high, and then we rejected back down under. That is a trap trade. What happens on a trap trade? We trade to the bottom end of the range, which was Globex lows. And by the way, in my pre-market, pre-market webinar, wow, I'm so tired, guys, so forgive me. I set this trade up exactly. I said, if we close below here, right, I will be taking, as long as I get a 7-point stretch, I'll be taking a long right out of Globex lows, and it was the highest and best trade location for a long yesterday. So you should become familiar with the trap trade. If you're not, contact me, especially my coaching clients, guys. I will go over this ad nauseum so you get it, and there's no lack of clarity for y'all. I want y'all to make money. It's important that you recognize if you're leaving trailers or even if you're trying to position yourself on the charts, right? If you're sitting here and you're going, where am I going to get my next trade? And you see the trap trade trigger, you should be looking down here and going, this is my next best place, even if it's the second touch of the zone, right? And if that doesn't work, right, look to the zone below. There's nothing wrong with being patient. And if it comes in the last hour, you just skip it. No big deal. I don't almost ever catch the first day reversal. Almost ever. That's part of my trading plan. It doesn't freak me out at all. Zero. So keep that in mind as well. The last piece I have, and I want to, again, be just so clear because I heard from people, again, who just got bone crushed at the end of the day. And so I'm going to go over it one more time. I don't know how many examples of this I can give before people finally get tired of it. Last hour of the day can be a bone crushing. This is from essentially 1833 all the way down to 1824, and then after hours we traveled all the way down to 1817. We did get some counter trade in here, but man, A, this was whippy as hell, and B, this is very hard to trade. If you think you're good enough to trade it, that's great. But one thing I want to emphasize, and I'll leave this at the end of the night, right? Number one thing, all you need is 1 or 2 trades a day for 1 or 2 points. Okay, you can usually achieve that prior to this 10:30 to 11 o'clock time frame. Okay, if you'll look, here is the one clean trade we got was up here, given. I didn't take it, but it was the one clean trade, and I had plenty of my clients who did take it, and it gave you your 2 points. You're done for the day. All you got to do that is once or twice a day, and I get these every single day where they trade out of these areas, right, and simply go and give you your 2 points, nice, easy, and clean, and you're done. And usually in a good market, I can get 2 or 3 of these, as it was. We're in a rough market for counter traders right now. Hopefully that changes starting tomorrow morning. But even with that, most of my clients are positive on this week, and they actually, most of them were either barely down or slightly positive last week, and last week was the roughest week of all. The other thing I want you to keep in mind, consider how many traders actually make money doing this, and the answer is not a lot. Okay, the average coaching client that I have has been at this for 3 years, and they have been break even or losers for 3 years on average, right? And the first thing I aim to do is get them to be consistent and profitable day by day. It is better to be consistent for 5 or 10 points a week, right, than it is making 20 points one week, giving back 20 points the next or more. All it takes is one big mistake to wipe out a track record like that and really cause some pain. So I'd ask that you consider that and make sure several things that are going through should be on your mind. First of all, do you have a written trade plan? Okay. Number 2, do you check that you're actually following that written trade plan through the course of the day? Number 3, do you actually have a proven edge that you know works not just in one market, but through multiple market cycles, day after day after day? If you have all of those things and you have the discipline to execute that plan, you're probably already making money. If you don't, either find an accountability partner, a trading coach, a spouse, a brother, a friend who can make you accountable to what you're doing, because this is a very lonely business. We sit generally in front of a screen by ourselves with no communication, and it's very hard to do on your own. And I would very much encourage you to get some help. There's a lot of it out there, and if you need some help finding it or finding the right person to match your personality, I'll be more than happy to help. Shoot me an email. Anyways, my name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. I'm trying to help traders become consistently profitable. It's the only reason I'm doing this. So if you are interested in contacting me, you can reach me at tradeandperform@gmail.com. You can hit me on Twitter, or you can hit me on StockTwits. I hope everyone had a great day. I hope everyone banked, and maybe we'll get back to some two-way markets so we can really start hitting some big paychecks here. Anyways, y'all have a great night, guys. We'll talk to you soon.